All right, it is showtime. If you guys can hear me loud and clear, let me know in the chat section. We are ready to get into some training tonight. So typically on Mondays, what I do is a live stream show. We are not doing a show tonight. We are doing some training. So this time block works well for me to come and go live. And we are going to do a live training. So this will be recorded, repurposed so that you guys can refer back to it as well. So if you're here live, definitely pay close attention because we're going to actually take the live down after we're done the live and then package it up, make it all nice and clean so that we can repurpose and redistribute it back out. But definitely let me know, first of all, that you guys can see me loud and clear. And then also we're going to be doing a lot of screen share because I think it's going to be beneficial as well. And then I'm going to come back toward the end of the screen share. So let me know that you can hear me, and then also let me know that you can see the words on the screen and that it's clear for you all. All right. Once we have those two things out of the way, then we'll be ready to launch into this training. We're going to talk about microphones. We're going to talk about cameras, and we're going to talk about lighting. Those are the big three that we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm waiting for you guys to let me know in the comments in the chat here. And then we will get started. All right, cool. Got a confirmation. All I need is one confirmation. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to jump over it. We're going to go slide heavy tonight. So it's a fair warning for everybody. I'm going to look at the comment section as we go through this. If there is a question that kind of goes along with where I'm at in the training, I will do my best to answer it. But we are going to really try to do all the questions at the end, because I think this training is going to help a lot of people that are trying to understand their equipment. And I like to give use cases. I like to demonstrate if possible. So I do have a lot of gear here, and if it's in my grasp, I will grab it. We'll switch over. We'll do behind the scenes, and I'll show you how it works, or that workflow, even if you have questions with your workflow, because that's a topic that I like diving into as well. All right. So all right, we're good to go. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, going slide heavy, and we're about to hit this record button. All right. Like I said, the replay will be available after, but it won't be available on YouTube. You'll just have to wait until I get that replay all cleaned up for you guys. All right, so let's go over here and get ready to go. Don't fear the gear masterclass. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight, is how to properly get your gear set up. What gear do you need, and how to actually use it if you don't know what you purchased already, but you know it's supposed to serve a use for you. That will be today's training. Who is this training for? Specifically, if you want to learn how to use your microphone, which microphones you should be getting, your cameras and the lights. If you're ready to actually upgrade, maybe you have equipment already, but you're ready to upgrade your equipment to something a little bit more professional, let you stand out a little bit more. And those of you all that need help with actually configuring your equipment, maybe you have it, maybe you've seen a setup that you like and you need help duplicating that setup. So that is who this training is actually for. We're going to go about 60 minutes of training, hardcore training, slide heavy, and do about 30 minutes of Q&A. So definitely make sure that you have your questions ready for those of you all that are here live. If you can, remove all your distractions. Definitely want to focus in, take some notes. You might have some aha moments. You might think of something that sparks a piece of gear that you might want, or something that you're trying to accomplish, and you just might need the correct equipment to pull that off. And then I also want you to know that you can do it. I talk to a lot of people that aren't techie, so you are in the right place if you're not techie. And even if you are techie, welcome. You can definitely feel free to chime in, especially as we talk about suggestions and type of equipment options that are available in the marketplace. For those that are brand new to me, maybe you haven't seen my channel, but you are here on YouTube, which is great for this training. But maybe you are not accustomed to my training style or my teaching style, or just don't have any background. I've been doing technology and digital since about 2004. Actually, before that, in my teenage years in school, actually serving for my local church ministry, doing video production there, and then actually doing it at a professional level since 2004. I'm a live streamer, I'm a content creator, and I coach what I call the non-techies of the world. And I also regularly feature technology, hardware, different software on both YouTube and on Amazon Live. Those are the two platforms where you'll typically see me talking about all this gear and different ways you could use it on a regular basis. These are just some of the brands that I've worked with. So when it comes to tech gear, I've worked with a lot of companies that have either supplied me with different products to use and test out, and I've actually owned a lot of different products from multitude of different manufacturers. So if you have questions on different types of products, maybe there's a name of a company you're not familiar with, but you see they have a piece of gear, definitely reach out to me and let me know, or ask that in the Q&A, and I can help you let you know if it's a product from a company that I'm familiar with and actually has a good reputation of some quality as well. All right, so as we get started here, I want to know what got you guys interested in this training specifically. I know I've posted this in a couple different outlets, a couple different digital mediums, but I want to know, why are you guys actually here? That way it'll help me frame the training, make sure that I cover all the different points that need to be covered. We will be talking hard about microphones, cameras, and lighting specifically, but we also are going to cover a section called accessories. This includes different cables that you might need, different types of mounting options, different types of accessories that go along with the main three that we're going to really highlight tonight. But definitely let me know why you all are actually here and why you're actually interested in this training specifically, because I do actually use that feedback in my training. All right, here's some things to know as well. There is no best. Okay, a lot of people like to ask, what is the best microphone or the best camera or the best light? There really is no best. There's so many different use cases. The best essentially is what will work for you, because the best microphone for one person is probably not going to be the best microphone for another person. One camera option may be great for one person that has a huge budget, but another person, the best camera might be a lower budget camera that still gets the job done but doesn't cost thousands of dollars. So I do not subscribe by the word best. So don't put the word best in the comment section or in the Q&A, because it's all relative. So definitely be specific in what you're trying to accomplish, and I can give you recommendations based off of that. Everyone's setup and needs are unique and different, so don't be afraid to ask questions, because your use case may be different from someone else's. You may be a content creator that's on Amazon Live like me, or you may just want to record a podcast. Two totally different types of individuals, so the equipment may vary from person to person. I want you guys to establish a budget. There is a lot of equipment that is on the market right now that is actually not available. So even some of the recommendations that I've put together for this training, like the equipment isn't even available. So there are other options, but I don't want you guys to overpay for equipment. So if you have a budget in mind that you're trying to stick around for the different pieces of equipment that you're looking to upgrade to or actually bring into your setup, let me know that as well in your questions, because that definitely helps me with some perspective of giving you some good options. And I want you to know that there are a ton of options. Even though there are a lot of things that are sold out right now or not available, there are still a lot of different options on the market from other manufacturers that may not have the household recognizable names. But at the end of the day, a lot of these pieces of equipment are comparable to each other. And so you really do just have to pick one. I could give recommendations all day long in one subject area. If it's a camera, we have hundreds of to choose from. Lights, we have thousands to choose from. So at the end of the day, you're going to pick one, and it's really going to be a lot to do with your budget, space. You might have a larger area to work with, so you might be able to get a different piece of equipment versus someone that has a smaller space. So those are things to keep in mind as well. And let's get started here. So here's the agenda. We're going to go through audio, microphones, videos, cameras, lighting, accessories, and then we'll do our Q&A at the end. Now, in the comments, in the chat, those of you who are here that are live, let me know some of the equipment that you're working with right now. If you know the name, the manufacturer of it, that would be great as well. So don't just type in, I have a microphone, but if you have a Fifine microphone, that's the number K678, or maybe you have a webcam and it's a Logitech C930, or maybe you have a light and your light is a Elgato key light. Let me know some of the equipment that you all are working with currently as well. I definitely believe in maximizing what we already have. If you have equipment that you have purchased already and is collecting dust, we want to wipe the dust off of that equipment and put it to good use. And that way you don't have to go spend bad money on top of bad if you already got it. Okay, so let me know what you all are working with as well. Let's get started with our first section, microphones. Now, there are different types of microphones that you want to consider for your particular setup. We have desktop microphones, which are your traditional microphones that will literally sit on your desk or be used primarily at your desk. Two different types of these microphones are USB microphones and XLR microphones, and we'll talk about the difference here soon. Next up, we have lapel microphones. Lapel microphones allow you to clip a microphone onto your shirt jacket, your collar. They allow you to have some mobility. So we're going to talk about use cases for that. And then we also have shotgun and boom microphones. So that's actually how I'm talking to you all right now. Shotgun boom microphone is a microphone that's not being seen on camera. So the placement of it allows you some flexibility, but it can still be used in a couple different ways, and we'll talk about that too. So let's dive into desktop microphones. Now, we have, like I mentioned, two different types. We have USB microphones, and we also have XLR microphones. Now, if you're just getting started and you want to improve the quality of your audio, I would highly recommend going the easier setup route, which are USB microphones. These microphones allow you to take the USB cable that is included with these microphones and plug it directly into your computer using that one cable, okay? And USB microphones have come a long way. They sound really, really good now. The other option that you'd have are XLR microphones. And these are microphones that also sound really well. And these are more preferred for those that are looking to do what we call more professional audio, where they have a lot more flexibility on adjusting the volume, changing the tones of the microphone. These can be used in situations if you're trying to do live stream events at a bigger scale, because you can't connect a bunch of USB microphones into the same computer. You'll be limited by the number of ports that you have. So if you're in a podcast situation and you want to interview multiple people, rather than using 4 USB microphones that you would plug directly into a computer, you would probably want to lean toward XLR microphones because they allow you to use an audio interface and control everything in the audio interface. Now, XLR microphones do require additional equipment. All right, there are some really popular XLR microphones that are on the market, and one of the slides that I have here is that you definitely want to consider your own personal preference. You might like a style of microphone, you might like a certain color that a microphone comes in, but you want to make sure that you pick the right one. So if you're very new to setting up microphones, but you want that quality, definitely look for USB microphones. If you have some audio experience and if your budget allows for you to also get the included accessories, which we'll talk about at the end, you can definitely consider an XLR microphone. Now, I primarily recommend someone to start off with the Shure MV7. Now, this is a really good microphone for anybody that is really serious about getting their audio correct, because the Shure MV7 is both a USB microphone and an XLR microphone. So if you're just jumping out there and maybe you're saying to yourself, I want to do a podcast, but I don't want to buy all the equipment right now. I just want to be able to buy something that's going to last me a while and that's going to be able to grow with me as I continue to grow. That's one of the reasons I really like the Shure MV7, because you can start out as a USB microphone and then eventually move yourself into using the XLR and use some of the audio interfaces that allow you to do more. Another microphone that I really like as well is the Elgato Wave 3, and you'll see me or hear me mention a lot of Elgato products, and the reason is because Elgato products just really work and they were kind of built for content creators. And the Elgato Wave 3 is a really popular microphone, and it's a USB microphone that you just can plug directly into your computer. Now, I do have recommendations for XLR microphones, so if those of you all that have questions and want suggestions for those, definitely just let me know in the comment section. But I really definitely want to make sure that you guys look at XLR or USB microphones because they're the easiest to get started with. Next type of microphones are lapel microphones. Now, these are for those of you all that need some mobility, because maybe you don't want to be tied to your desk. Maybe you're a speaker. Maybe you're someone like me that live streams on Amazon, and I needed to kind of walk around the room a little bit, but I still need my audio to be clear, and I don't need the levels to drop when I walk away from a primary microphone that may be sitting on my desk. So this is where lapel microphones come in. These can be used with your computer by plugging them directly into your computer, or plugging them directly into your mobile device, or even a camera source. You can plug lapel microphones directly into it. Like I said, it allows you to be more mobile, and some of the new styles of lapel microphones don't require batteries. They actually have an internal battery. You charge those up, and you can get anywhere between about 4 to 6 hours of use out of those. So they're really good for, live streaming and any type of event that you might be using your audio for under that, between that 4 to 6 hour battery life before you would need to basically recharge the internal battery. Now, the one downside of having an internal battery is that over time, eventually that battery will wear down, versus traditional lapels where you can just replace 2 AA batteries. But the benefit of having that internal microphone or that internal battery is the fact that you don't have to remember to carry around 2 AA batteries with you all the time, and just have those readily available for you. So 2 recommendations that I put in for that are the Rode Wireless Go, which is a microphone that I've been using for a few years now. It's one of the ones I always recommend because it has some other components like internal recording, which is pretty nice. And then the Mayono Lav mic, which is also a very similar microphone that allows you to clip this on to your shirt, or actually use the lapel that you see on the screen, where you actually have the smaller lapel that clips on, and you can mount that and be able to bring in really good audio. So using a lapel microphone gives you that flexibility where you're not tied to a desk. You can move around and still have that really good audio. Next type of microphone to consider is a boom and shotgun microphone. And again, this is what I'm using for today's training. I actually have it mounted on my desk, and because some of these microphones serve dual purposes essentially, and that's something to consider how you're going to be using your equipment. And a boom microphone can be placed out of frame, so you can still get really good audio, but the microphone is not in the camera frame. So in some cases, you may want it where your microphone is in frame, like you're a podcaster, you want to talk right into the microphone. But maybe you're shooting YouTube content, and if you had a microphone on your desk, it would be in the way. So you have options, and that's one of the reasons that I like shotgun microphones, because they can be just out of frame and get good audio. You have the ability to use some of these boom microphones as desktop microphones, like the one I'm using right now, which is the Rode video mic. And it literally allows you to connect it directly to your computer via that USB port, or you can use a 3.5 millimeter connection as well. And that connection is more so used for cameras, onboard cameras. So in my case right now, if I use a shotgun microphone, I could actually use it on my camera. I can use it right now to live stream. I can USB connect it and use it on my computer as my everyday microphone. So it really does serve a multitude of different purposes. Now, the one thing I did put in here is the non-USB connections, because I don't see a lot of these types of microphones that are USB. So if you are looking for something that's dual purpose and USB, definitely look into the Rode video mic. But traditionally, you might see something more like the DAV Mic D4, which is a microphone that you can place on your camera and get good audio. But the real reason that you're using that type of mic is because it's on your camera. Okay, this is not going to be a mic that you're going to use sitting on your desk as your everyday microphone. That's what the desktop microphones are for. All right. All right, now we sound good, so now it's time to look good. So we're going to move into cameras. All right. Now we have a bunch of different types of cameras that we can choose from to level up. And one of the cameras, and just like the audio that I intentionally bypassed, are the built-in audio and built-in video on laptops. It's time to move away from those. So we have webcams, mirrorless cameras, camcorders, PTZ cameras, and then we have other types of cameras like action cameras and drones. So there are a lot of types of cameras that you can use for your setups. So let's first talk about webcams. Now, webcams would be your first step up from an internal camera on your computer. Now, these webcams are traditionally USB connections. So just like your USB microphone, it's one connection USB that would plug directly into your computer. These webcams come in a couple different qualities. You'll see 720p resolution, which I would tell you to go ahead and stay away from. And you'll see a lot that say 1080p. All right, definitely would want to get the 1080p over the 720p. Part of the reason that you may be looking to upgrade your equipment is because you want to upgrade the quality. So you definitely want to have at least a 1080p resolution camera. Now there are cameras, webcams that even say 4K. If you do see that, that's nice. However, you're probably not going to be able to bring in 4K signal into your computer. You need something called a video capture card that allows you to accept 4K. Internally on your computer, you already have a video card, so you don't need to go out and run and buy one. But the benefit of seeing a webcam that does say 4K is that the sensor on the camera is going to be a little bit better, slightly better than the 1080p sensor on a webcam. So you will have a little bit better quality, but you're not going to get the 4K quality that you might read that's available on the box. All right. So 1080p or 4K webcams are what I would suggest you look at if you're looking to get your first piece of camera gear that's a step up from the internal cameras on your laptop. Now, most of these webcams do have a built-in microphone. I would highly advise you not to even use it. Definitely use one of the options that we spoke about before and have a dedicated microphone. Some of these webcams do allow you to have software that can be downloaded. Logitech is popular for this. I think Elgato is now as well, where you have software that you can use to adjust your camera settings. You can increase the ISO, which allows you to bring in more light to your camera so the picture looks clearer. You can adjust the range, so if you have a wide field of view, if you want to include more of your background or less of your background, you can actually adjust these settings using the software that's available with some of the more popular brands of webcams. And then you can also, what I like to do is use multiple camera angles. And rather than investing thousands of dollars into higher end cameras to pull off multiple camera angles to add some dynamics to your video, you can actually use multiple webcams. Now, that's how I started off. I actually had 3 Logitech webcams that were connected to my computer, and I could switch between the 3 different webcams and had 3 different camera angles. Now, keep in mind, if you're using USB devices, you will be limited by the number of USB ports that is available on your computer. So you may have to look into one of those accessories, a USB hub. And a USB hub just allows you to have more ports that you can connect more devices into. 2 recommendations that I have for webcams are the Logitech C930E and the Elgato Facecam. Next up is one of my favorite types of camera to use, and that's the camera that I'm actually using right now, which is a mirrorless camera. And specifically, I like the Sony a6400, which is what I'm using, and I have 3 of these cameras, so that's just how much I like these cameras. These cameras allow you to have 4K video recording, and they also allow you the ability to change out the lenses to give you different effects. So I use lenses that allow me to have a blurry background effect where the front subject, which is myself, is very clear on camera, but the background behind me has this blurred background effect. And the way that you're able to pull that off is with the camera and the lens combo. Now, when you invest in this type of camera, you definitely need to think about, you're also going to have to invest in lenses. Typically, these cameras do come with a default stock type of lens, but if you're seeing a specific image or a specific video and you like what they're doing, you have to understand that there's 2 components, the lens and the camera body, okay? Now, these cameras are really good for not only video, but also for pictures and photography. So if you're a YouTuber or someone that needs to get good images, these cameras have a dual purpose. I also like the fact that these cameras have a flip up or a flip out screen so that you can have vlog style, so you can make sure that you're actually in the camera, and you have the ability to do internal recording. So with an SD card, you can pop it in and record directly to the camera. And unlike a webcam, you can actually take this with you and you're not going to be confined to just having it at your desktop all the time. Now, one of the things to keep in mind when upgrading to this type of camera is the fact that if you want to use it for live streaming or video recording and being on your Zoom meetings and any other virtual place that we show up, you do need a video capture card to bring in the signal into your computer. Now, some of the newer cameras are allowing you to install software that allows you to use that USB cable. So you guys are going to hear that a lot in this training. Some cameras have USB connections, so you can just plug USB directly into your computer. Now with the Sony a6400, that's not an option, so you do need a dedicated video capture card. And these capture cards can range anywhere from $29 to $200. And what it does is allows your camera to be seen as a quote-unquote webcam on your computer. So when you go into Zoom, you can actually see, oh, it's a Sony a6400. I can select it, and that's going to be the camera that I use. There are other types of video capture cards, such as video switcher devices, which are anything like the A10 Mini, which is what I use, that allows you to connect multiple cameras all into one device and then connect that device directly into your computer. Okay. Mirrorless cameras, A6400. Also, I put on here the ZVE1. There's actually a newer model, the ZVE10, but the ZVE10 has been sold out for quite some time and is very hard to find right now. So definitely, if you're looking to upgrade to a mirrorless camera, keep in mind there's two components you're going to be looking at: the camera, and then also considering getting the lens itself. These do allow you to connect or microphones directly to it. So those boom microphones, those shotgun microphones, can connect directly to this type of camera. That allows you to have better audio, because just like webcam, these cameras do typically have built-in microphones, but the quality of audio is not the best. And then also those lapel microphones that I mentioned work really well with these cameras, because if you're going to a conference or maybe you need to record yourself at a speaking engagement, you can clip on your own lapel microphone wirelessly, connect to this type of camera, and then have really good audio and really good video. Next type of camera are camcorders. Now these are great cameras to record longer time frames rather. They can record up to 4K. Now, even though these can record for longer amounts of time, don't think that you need a camcorder to do so, because mirrorless cameras actually allow you to do so as well. You just have to use a dummy battery. I don't typically recommend camcorders unless you're looking to improve the quality of your video on a budget. Mirrorless cameras just give you a much better picture. Camcorders typically they require a lot of light. So if you're in a low light situation, these cameras really don't perform the best. You're tied to the lens on that camcorder because you can't change these out. But they do serve well as extra cameras. I do like to use camcorders maybe for overhead shots, maybe for behind the scenes, or maybe from distances further away to capture a wide angle. But if you are working with the budget, then camcorders are an option for you. Two that I put in here are the Canon Vixia and the Sony FD-R8X. Both of these I've used in the past, and they definitely work really well. One of my favorite types of cameras for conferences, for houses of worships, are PTZ cameras. These cameras allow you to pan, to tilt, and to zoom. So essentially you have a roaming camera that you can control by either a remote or by a dedicated PTZ controller. Now, what I really like about these types of cameras are they can be preset at different angles. So you can have one angle that shows a close-up, one angle that shows a wide shot, one angle that shows something 270 degrees in the opposite direction, because these really do have the ability to pan, tilt, and zoom without losing any resolution. The downside to PTZ cameras are they're pretty stationary. You're not going to go and easily just take these and vlog with them. They don't have internal recording. I typically do not recommend that you try to connect a microphone to it, because that setup is just complicated to try to bring audio into that camera. So each camera has its real specific use case, and that's the reason that we don't talk about what is the best camera, what is the best microphone, what's the best light. Everything really does have its own use case. Couple recommendations are the PTZ Optics PTZ cameras. They have great customer service, and that's one of the things I look for when I buy equipment, is the manufacturer and how I can get help, how I can get support. PTZ Optics, if you're looking at these types of PTZ cameras, have great support. And AV cans are a budget-friendly option as well. And a lot of the controls and functionality are very similar to some of the more popular brands on the market. So that's why a lot of people tend to look at the AV cans if they're just getting started with PTZ cameras. Now, some of the other types of cameras that you can look at provide either some type of portability, durability, or they give you the unique camera angles. Now, a couple of examples of these are the OBS bot. Now, what the OBS bot is essentially a hybrid between a webcam and a PTZ camera. It is in the price range of a webcam, but it has the functionality of a PTZ camera. It literally is AI tracking, so if you're walking around the room, it will automatically follow you back and forth around the room. So you don't have to actually control it. It's following you on its own with its AI technology built in. And it's really cool. And I really recommend it for anyone that wants to be mobile. If you're sitting at your workstation or your desk all the time for your videos, I wouldn't recommend it because you're not really using it to its fullest capacity. But if you're moving around, this is definitely an option that you can check out. The GoPro Hero 10, which is an action camera. If you're on the go, maybe you want to record in your car, maybe you just need something to take with you in your bag and just easily pull it out and get some action shots. Maybe you are an adventurer and you are swimming, you're biking, doing anything that requires something sturdy, because these cameras are built to fall, they're built to get banged up, and they can definitely stand the test of time. That's when you would look at something like a GoPro Hero 10. And then you also have drones, which are becoming more and more and more popular in overall video content creation. And the DJI Mini SE is a very budget-friendly drone. It has a also name recognition with DJI, and it's a very popular type of drone for people that are just getting started. Now, good video also requires good light. So let's talk about lighting. 4 different types of lights that you can consider are ring lights, softbox lights, panel lights, and RGB lights. Now, the first one is the ring light, and the ring light are pretty easy to set up. They're built for mobile devices, mobile streaming, mobile recording. You can put the light up directly in front of you and mount your camera inside of that light, or you can just put it directly in front of the camera and have it shine directly on you. There are a lot of different mounting options for this. They can be mounted directly onto a tripod or mounted directly onto a desk. And then some of these lights can actually be controlled by a remote, so that makes it convenient as well. Now, if you're wearing glasses, you may run into some concern where you need to adjust the light. Otherwise, you'll see the ring inside of your eyeglasses. And the way to prevent this is to tilt the light further down on you. Now, depending on if you have a camera inside of the ring light that you're using, that may not be an option. But in order to prevent the ring in your light or the ring in your eyeglasses, you have to shine the light further down on you. Some of the recommendations that I have in here are the newer ring light and the UV size light. These are both really good options if you're using a ring light. Now, I don't recommend ring lights. I think there are a lot better options on the marketplace for you, even at the same price range as you would typically find a ring light. Now, the next one we have here are softbox lights. These are more of my favorite type of lights and the most ideal depending on physical space for the majority of why you would use these. Now, softbox lights are really good for video and photography, and they provide that even light. Like the light casts itself really evenly over the entire surface that it's looking at. These lights are typically sold separately with the light and the softbox. So when you hear softbox lighting, that's actually referring to the panel box, and the light is going to be your main source. Now, in the recommendations, what I did was put the combo set so that you could see the light and the softbox together. We have the Godox ML 60 watt and the GVM light 80 watt. And what I'm also doing with these recommendations are giving you some of the more popular brands. So as you're searching and you see these brand names show up, want you to be comfortable knowing that their products are pretty solid. Now, with softbox lights, you will see some lights that have 3-point light systems that have bulbs. I would recommend staying away from the bulb lights because they produce heat, and if you sweat a lot, we will all see it. So stay away from the bulb lights, but you can definitely still use the softbox lights and look at to the Godox and the JVM for their lights that cast a softer light, and it's not so harsh and it's not so hot. Next type of light we have here are panel lights. And panel lights are really nice because you can use panel lights and take up way less space than you can with the softbox lights. These lights can be very bright. I literally have a light that is 1% most of the time, and you can have lights that go all the way to 99% of their brightness. These lights can be true white, or you can change the color spectrum to a tone that may match the color of your light bulb, that more amber color. These can be mounted multiple different ways. You can mount these directly on your desk. You can use clamp mounts, mount them from ceilings, different tripods. So you have flexibility in this lighting. So if you're moving around from place to place in your space, you can move these lights easily. And then you have a lot of different sizes as well. You have very small panel lights and you have really big panel lights. And again, I really like these because they typically take up less space than a big dome that is going to be hard to move. It's not going to be the most ideal to move around versus a panel light. A couple recommendations that we have are the Elgato key light. And again, you've probably seen Elgato already, which is just because it's a popular brand and they really make great equipment for people that are getting started in video. And the newer Flapjack light, which is a thin panel light that I like to use because I can mount it on my tripod and then easily move it around. These lights allow you to, the newer Flapjack in particular, allows you to plug it directly into the wall for DC power, or you can use batteries to power it as well. So you have some options with the power source. And then finally we have RGB lights. This is adding some color, adding some fun to your live stream or your video. This is the new trend, right? Almost everybody you see that's professional live streamer or been live streaming for a while has added some type of color into their live stream that maybe is just their favorite color, or goes along with their branding, or just makes the video just look a little bit better. There's a lot of different options on the market to choose from. You have string lights that that are literally double-sided taped, and you can wrap those around your different different TVs, bookshelf casings, anything like that. You have stand-up lights that are like tube lights, bar lights. You have panel lights like we just showed, but they're actually RGB color lights. Now, one thing to keep in mind with these types of lights is just to be careful and get good lights. You don't want to cheap out on these type of lights because you could get flicker on camera. And if you start to put your lights in the background and you're looking at the video and you see this little slight flicker going on, that's because that light, it's definitely not at the right level for you to use on camera. So a couple lights that I do like are the Govee lights and the RGBG1 light. Specifically the Govee lights, if you are looking to light your space, these are really good. I have multiple types of Govee lights. They do not flicker, and you can get these on your app. So you can actually download the app and control the lights, control the colors for not only the ones that you're using on your desk, but the ones that you're using throughout your house. So the Govee lights are really popular lights. They do not flicker on camera, and they're highly popular now, gaining a lot of traction. You'll probably also see the Philips Hue lights that have a good name recognition, but those do flicker on screen if your settings aren't correct. The Govee lights I've never had an issue with. So we got audio check, video check, and lights check. So those are the big three. we'll jump into accessories here, and we'll just kind of talk through accessories. But go ahead and line up your questions that you might have specifically for your tech and gear. Let's get it all knocked out in this training. Now, accessories, like I mentioned in the audio section, if you're looking at XLR microphones, let's say you want a microphone like the Shure MV7, that is a hugely, or Shure MV7, or the MV7X, really, because that's an XLR microphone. But any of the XLR microphones, you will also need to make sure you have an audio interface to use that microphone. Even though it might look really good and you really want it, definitely understand that you need extra components to make it work. These microphones typically need more power, so either phantom power, but there's a lot of different ways we can get into it if anybody has specific questions on it. But you will need an additional audio interface if you're looking to upgrade and start using XLR type of microphones. Cabling. I found that cabling is very important. You want to make sure that you have good distance length cables, okay? If you're connecting your USB microphone and you're yanking on the cable, that's not going to last long. There are cables that you can buy that allow you to have longer distances. Even headphone cables, if you're too close or if you're not close enough to your computer, buy extension cables. You can get headphone extension cables and they work really well. For your microphones, you have different mounting options for microphones. Some people like them mounted directly on your desk. However, if the microphone is on your desk, sitting on your desk with a stand, I want to tap my desk and you probably can hear it because your microphone will move. Or if your microphone is really close to your keyboard, you can hear people typing on the microphone. So these are some things to consider when you're mounting your microphones. You also have boom arms where the microphone is mounted on the desk, but it's on a boom arm that literally can swivel. You can move it out the way when it's in the way, and you can bring it in the frame when you need it. Also, batteries, mirrorless cameras, like I mentioned, allow you to use dummy batteries so you have continuous power. But you don't always need batteries for some of the other types of devices, like we mentioned, the wireless microphone system. You may not need batteries depending on which type of equipment that you use because the batteries are internal. I got cables on there twice, so that's a mistake, but cables, that might be something for myself to just remember, right? And then we also have headphones. If you're listening to audio on a Zoom call, you definitely want to wear headphones. This helps the other person on the other end not have audio that is cycling and getting trying to figure out that tunnel audio. Using headphones is important. There are different types of headphones. You have the ones that go directly into your ear, the earbuds. You have over-the-ear headphones as well. So a lot of that's going to be preference. If you like a sleek look, definitely consider the in-ear earbuds because they can wrap around your ear and people really don't even notice that you have them on. Or you can wear your more traditional headphones over your ear as well. So don't fear the gear. All right, so that's our training. If you need support, specific support for questions that we don't cover here, or you might not be able to type it all the way out where it makes complete sense, there is a calendar that you can book a consultation and we can go through your setup specifically of what you're trying to accomplish. That's a time where we dedicate literally an hour to your setup, and we see what you already have working with, establish a budget, and then get some options for different equipment that would make sense for you. And then also, if you guys are interested in any of the recommendations, those are affiliate links. You can access those through the spreadsheet directly as well, because I included the spreadsheet for those of you that are watching live. Those allow you to go directly to Amazon and make any purchases. And if you do make any purchases using those affiliate links, I do get a commission, which goes right back into my channels on both YouTube and Amazon Live. And also on the screen is my Amazon storefront. So you'll see a lot of equipment that I've used. You'll see one section that says influencer, and then you'll see some other sections that kind of break down the actual equipment. The influencer section is equipment that has been provided for me. Typically, you'll see a review video somewhere, and then the live is where I show up on live, so you can always catch me there to ask specific questions of any gear that I'm featuring at that time. So let's jump into Q&A. If you guys have questions, I do have the chat open on YouTube, and we can go through some questions. Good to see those of you all here. So let me go through and see what questions I have. Chelsea, let's see. Robert had Canon Vixia. All right, the camera. Chelsea says I have a Blue Yeti condenser mic, knockoff Rode shotgun mic. Haven't calibrated the sound. Amazing just yet. Okay, so you got the equipment, just gotta tweak the settings. When using my Shure MV7 as an XLR, there is a tapping sound in the recording, and I've never been able to figure out why. So one thing that could be an issue, which I ran into recently with someone, was they were getting interference in their audio. And what was happening, literally, you could hear music playing if you were listening to headphones, and they weren't even speaking. So interference was coming in, and what the culprit was the cable. So I would recommend maybe replacing your cable if you have a lot going on, like I do on my desk. Behind here, there's a lot of audio cables, and you can actually see them all over here as well. Cables can cross over each other and cause some interference. So I would definitely check the cable. I use Canary cables, and it was actually the cables that I had recommended for this person as well, and they actually fixed the issue. Let me see if I can grab a link for these XLR cables. Now, I like these cables because they allow you to they come in different colors, so you can match your branding. Now, they aren't the cheapest XLR cables in the world, but they did allow the interference to be blocked out. So that would be something I would recommend to use in your troubleshooting. Let's see here. Okay, you got to tell me what you're using. Chris is here. Nikki's here. Awesome. All right, no questions. Okay. All right, we can keep it short and simple tonight. So I'll give you guys another second to ask any questions that you might have. All right. So I was requested to do this training by popular demand. So I was expecting a whole bunch of questions about your setup in particular. If you do have questions, now is the time to ask, because if you don't ask and you ask later, there's an invoice attached to it. So if you have any questions around your microphone, your camera, your lights, or your workflow that I can help you with here, definitely go ahead, put those in the comment section. For those that need to go back and watch the replay, I'll leave the replay up here for a little bit, and then eventually it will come down and we'll repurpose this video so it'll be housed somewhere else. All right. So I think I stalled long enough. I hope you guys got some benefit from this training. I hope it was useful information for you guys. I hope the recommendations, you go and check it out. I will repost the actual slide deck that I use for this training. So if you want to go directly to the slide deck and grab any of those recommendations, go ahead and do it right there. It's clickable inside of the slide deck. And then keep in mind, like I said earlier, there are a lot of different options on there. So I can't put every single recommendation for every single use case. But if you see a brand on there with similar name like Rode, Shure, Sennheiser, GVM, DJI, there's a lot of manufacturers that make really good products. So you'll be able to see what fits in your price range and then actually what works for your specific use case as well. All right. Yeah, I was trying to repurpose for a training, Nikki. So I was trying to be good and kind of stay in a zone so I can actually repurpose it. Chelsea says, "Do you have any recommendations for mirrorless Canon cameras considering the M50 Mark II?" Yeah, I know a lot of people that do use the Canon M50. They love the Canon M50. I'm just a Sony person. Now, going the used route is an option, you all. There are a lot of Canon M50s available in the used marketplace right now. Facebook Marketplace, eBay. If you literally just type in used camera gear, you can find some cameras. Just make sure that you do check it out. And if that does have a limited warranty on it, that you do make sure you play with it enough during that time frame. But the M50s, you can definitely find those significantly priced lower than if you were to buy them brand new, which gives you options to pick up two of them so you can have multiple camera angles as well. But I do know people that use the Canon M50s. I'm not sure. I saw a buddy of mine. He was selling all of his Canon M50s because he was migrating over to Sony cameras. But I'm not sure if he sold them all already. If I see them, I will definitely try to tag you in those posts. All right, cool. All right, you all. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you all in another training. Uh, and I'll see you on Amazon Live. I got to do some Amazon Live training, so we'll talk about a whole bunch of gear over there and a whole bunch of the accessories to kind of level up your video production. You guys have a great day, and I'll